What would you do if you woke up one day from a shy boy invisible in the eyes of your friends, suddenly possessing invincible strength and the ability to climb walls swiftly thanks to an ant bite? But superpowers always come with big trouble, especially when you have to face a cruel supervillain named the Flea. Let's watch the spectacular transformation journey of Antboy right now. The story begins with Pele. Pele is a timid, quiet 12-year-old boy with no friends. Everyone always ignores him, making him feel like just a tiny ant in an anthill. Pele also has a secret crush on a classmate named Amanda. Unlike Pele, Amanda is extremely popular at school and is completely unaware of his existence. Amanda's younger sister named Ida is also in the same class, but she is completely different from Amanda. While Amanda always behaves perfectly, Ida is blunt and doesn't care about her appearance at all. One afternoon after school, while Pele was eating an apple, he suddenly heard a loud noise nearby. He sneaked over to observe and saw two students assaulting another boy. Without hesitating for long, he threw the apple he was holding at the bullies to try and stop them. Unfortunately, he was spotted, and the bullies immediately chased after him. After running away for a while, Pele managed to lose them and hid behind some bushes. Suddenly, an ant crawled up his leg and bit him. Pele felt a sudden itch but didn't pay much attention to it. When he knew the bullies were gone, Pele left his hiding place and found himself standing in front of an old house. Right at that moment, he was bitten on the neck by that exact same ant again. However, this time Pele felt dizzy and collapsed to the ground. In the midst of that, he saw someone approaching him, but before he could recognize the stranger, Pele fell unconscious. Several hours later, Pele woke up and was shocked to see that it was already dark. He hurriedly ran home and went straight to bed instead of having dinner. In his dream, he saw tens of thousands of ants swarming all around him. Pele woke up with a start in fear and had a premonition that something terrible was about to happen. The next morning, Pele woke up and saw his chocolate-covered lips in the bathroom mirror. When he stepped out of his room, he was stunned to see a pile of empty wrappers and snack and candy packages scattered everywhere. During breakfast, Pele picked up the milk carton to pour it into a glass, when suddenly the carton stuck tightly to his hand. It stuck so tightly that his father had to help pull it off. Next, Pele was about to drink fruit juice, but as soon as he touched the glass, it shattered into many pieces. Although his parents were extremely surprised by these incidents, they still escorted Pele to school. At school, during gym class, Pele accidentally broke the door while trying to pull it open. He also accidentally knocked his teacher over in the middle of the practice session. After school, as Pele was walking home, his schoolmate Wilhelm approached him. It turned out Wilhelm was the boy Pele had rescued from the bullies earlier. Wilhelm thanked Pele for his help and mentioned Pele knocking the teacher over. He also wondered whether Pele possessed any superpowers, but Pele denied it. Right at that moment, they noticed a strange man across the street staring at them. Pele felt uncomfortable with that piercing gaze, so he quickly returned home. In the next scene, that man appeared at his own home, reading a news clipping about Amanda's father, who turned out to be the director of a biomedical corporation named Exopharm. The next day at school, Pele found Wilhelm and confided in him about the ant bite and the strange phenomena occurring recently. Wilhelm, who was inherently an avid superhero fan, was extremely excited by this news and took Pele to his house to help. There, they conducted a series of different tests to check if Pele had superpowers. Upon getting astonishing results, they started designing a superhero suit for Pele to wear to participate in fighting crime. With their newly discovered knowledge, Pele and Wilhelm went to a dark parking lot where crimes frequently occurred. While waiting to carry out their mission, they agreed to use the name Antboy as an alias for Pele. Wilhelm then went to buy food for both of them, leaving Pele alone in the parking lot. Suddenly, he heard a woman calling for help because her handbag was taken by a robber. Wasting no time, Pele put on the Antboy suit and chased after the robber. However, the thief mistook him for some kid playing superhero and began to mock him. This made Pele anxious and he started to back away, but suddenly he crawled up the wall exactly like an ant. Pele's ability panicked the robber, and he understood that this child was not ordinary at all. He tried to flee, but Pele easily defeated him. A moment later, when Wilhelm returned with the food, he was incredibly amazed to see several police officers taking that robber away. Immediately after, Pele pulled Wilhelm into a corner and recounted the whole story from beginning to end. After that, he performed a display of his wall climbing ability for Wilhelm to see, but it failed miserably and he fell. Upon returning home, Pele questioned himself about his failure to climb the wall earlier. Wilhelm believed that it was due to Pele lacking energy. He suggested that Pele eat candy to restore his strength. Next, Wilhelm also upgraded Pele's suit, adding a belt holding candy and a smart glove connected to a mobile phone. As time passed, Antboy became famous for fighting evil and helping citizens, while his identity remained a secret. Antboy became an idol for children and youths when he took action to stop the bullies at school. On another note, Pele felt happy because he was finally known by many people. At the same time, Wilhelm reminded him not to be too arrogant about this newfound fame, because a true superhero always focuses on good deeds rather than fame. However, Pele turned a deaf ear to that advice. The work then shifts to a scene of Amanda gleefully sticking up some Antboy posters inside her room. Right at that moment, deafening music blared from Ida's room, startling Amanda. She started arguing with Ida about that issue. When Ida left the room, Amanda saw the silhouette of a man standing by the window reflected in the mirror. She turned to look at him and screamed when she saw his appearance. Ida heard her sister's scream and hurriedly ran to help. Sadly, by the time the little girl arrived, the strange man had flown away with Amanda. The next morning at school, Pele was extremely sad due to Amanda's absence. A moment later, a group of students flocked to the edge of the building and saw someone hanging suspended from the high roof. Antboy rushed over to rescue that person, but upon approaching, he realized it was only a doll. It turned out Ida had left the doll there to lure Antboy over and have a private conversation with him. When they faced each other, Ida showed him the footage of Amanda locked in a glass box and asked him to help save her. Ida then recounted to him about a guy named the Flea who had kidnapped Amanda and sent the film to their father demanding money. The Flea demanded $20 million along with the requirement that their father must resign from his director position at Exofarm. Because Pele secretly loved Amanda, he did not hesitate and immediately accepted to help Ida. In the next scene, Antboy brought Ida along to Wilhelm's house. Wilhelm was shocked by this, as the duo had committed to not revealing the secret to anyone. He also thought that Pele was taking a huge risk by inviting another friend to join. Despite that, Pele convinced him by asserting that Ida did not know his true identity and they could trust her. Next, all three watched the video clip of Amanda sent by the Flea. Wilhelm told them that Ida and Amanda's father looked exactly like Lex Luthor, a villain from DC Comics. His speculations made Ida furious and she spoke up to defend her father. Instantly, an argument broke out between the two sides, but Antboy made them calm down. After that, he questioned Ida about the most potential kidnapping suspect. Ida believed the kidnapper was likely someone who wanted to take over their father's Exofarm company. She further revealed that she didn't know much about the company except that it specialized in manufacturing medicines and vaccines for incurable diseases. As Ida was presenting her hypothesis, Antboy suddenly smelled a strange scent and realized it emanated from Amanda's necklace that Ida had brought along. Recognizing that Antboy possessed a very sensitive sense of smell, the three of them attempted to use this ability to find Amanda's whereabouts. Throughout the search process, they arrived at the exact place where Pele had been bitten by the ant earlier. Wilhelm recounted to them that this house was owned by an old woman named Gedate Melkra, whose body was found by the police 2 weeks after she passed away. Ignoring the terrifying story, Antboy entered the house and went straight down into the basement. Here, he discovered a laboratory with all the essential equipment for research. As Antboy explored the room more closely, he suddenly saw Amanda locked inside a glass tank. He attempted to rescue her, but right at that moment, desperate, Antboy demanded the Flea release Amanda, but he replied that he was seeking to exact revenge on Amanda's father, the one who ruined his life. The movie then shifts to a flashback sequence when the Flea worked as a biochemist at Exofarm. He was researching another ant species named Formica aquilonia, a species possessing a rare chemical that helps treat a variety of human diseases. Through numerous studies, the Flea created a new, highly effective serum from this very ant species. He used his frail, elderly mother, Mrs. Gedate Melkra, as a test subject for the initial experiment and injected her with the serum. This medicine shrank her tumor, and her health condition began to show improvement. Unfortunately, Amanda's father suspended the research project due to funding reasons and fired the Flea for daring to threaten his position. Not long after, Mrs. G. Melkra passed away, and the Flea fell into a state of collapse. Therefore, he started planning his revenge against Exofarm and Amanda's father. To execute his scheme, he secretly researched a completely new type of blood-sucking head louse. Over a few weeks, he ultimately successfully extracted the serum that gave him super strength and flying skills. Similar to how Antboy recharges energy from candy, the Flea gained extra power by sucking blood. Returning to the present, Antboy learned that the ant that had bitten him had actually been genetically modified by the Flea to create the curative serum for his mother. Very quickly, the Flea began to psychologically manipulate Pele and told him that Amanda didn't like him, she only liked Antboy. He simultaneously told Pele that Wilhelm was only pretending to be his friend because he wanted to take advantage of his superpowers. At another location, Wilhelm somehow overheard the conversation between the Flea and Pele and called the police. As bad luck would have it, the Flea flew high and escaped from the police, leaving Pele and Amanda held captive in the glass boxes. On the other hand, Pele decided to stop being Antboy because he could not rescue Amanda. Even so, Wilhelm strove to convince him not to give up because the Flea was still lurking out there. Pele refused to listen to his friend's advice and handed the mask to Wilhelm, challenging him to go save the world himself. The next morning, the Flea attacked the school exactly as Wilhelm had predicted earlier. Wilhelm encouraged Pele to take down the attacker. However, Pele had no desire to be a superhero anymore and left all the trouble for the police to resolve. Having no other choice, a brave Wilhelm put on Antboy's mask and stepped up to confront the Flea with a bug spray. However, because he did not possess superpowers, the Flea was immediately able to kidnap the boy. When he realized his best friend was in danger, Pele hurriedly put on the replica Antboy suit and pedaled his bike to rush to save Wilhelm. Antboy tailed the Flea to a forest and discovered Wilhelm tied tightly to a tree trunk. He sought a way to rescue his friend, but right at that moment, the Flea appeared again. The two kids immediately ran away to save their lives and together calculated a plan to defeat the villain. Pele tricked the Flea by throwing his own Antboy costume onto the ground. While the Flea was distracted, Wilhelm sneaked up behind him and opened the cap of the blood container, which provided energy for the Flea. This time, Pele felt more confident thanks to the assistance from his close friend. He courageously battled the Flea and ultimately defeated him. Right after that, the police also arrived to arrest the Flea, who was exposed as the character Dr. G. Melkry. Next, Pele went to Amanda's room under the alias Antboy, and she expressed her gratitude for him rescuing her. She was about to kiss him, but he pulled back and inquired to look for Ida. This rejection shocked Amanda. Despite that, she still called Ida into the room before walking away. When Ida arrived, she confessed that she knew he was Pele and promised to keep his identity a secret. The movie closes as Pele and Wilhelm are discussing a new suit and the possible presence of another superhero. Thank you for watching. See you again in the next video.